Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. Let's just look at BTC USD on the daily. This chart looks very ugly overall. Are the lows in? I honestly have no idea. I think that the short-term lows are in. I don't think $30,000 will get broken. But after that, I honestly have no idea. So what I'm trying to say is that I think that we actually go higher before we go lower. There's a few reasons I say that. Number one, I saw pretty high sell volume overall. Like you can see, like all the sellers are just leaning very heavy here. And they're probably going to get tired, and there will be a change in market behavior, and there arguably could be one already where the buyers will start to step in and see value at 32K or 31K. We're seeing right now that price is short-term reversing, and it's nice to see because the altcoins are also doing great. I entered yesterday on a few altcoins, but I've already sold a majority of them, my orders yesterday. I'm just keeping my risk very tight and my trades fairly short given the environment. Overall, like, what areas am I looking at? On the 1 day, I think that something like 45K is an interesting area. And of course, 40,000 to 41,000, this is like the next area of interest in my opinion. Kind of like this 41K area is fairly significant. I believe that there are some other EMAs, like the 100 is getting closer to this as well. But this is a significant SR level in my opinion, and the next one before 45K. Whether or not price can currently break this 38K area is yet to be determined, or 39K. I'm not exactly sure. As of right now, like there are a lot of different possibilities, and there was a lot of FUD overall. Not really FUD, just like a lot of bearish sentiment overall yesterday. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to enter in some more altcoin trades. Yesterday is just because everybody thought this was going to 25, and it's certainly possible that 25K could get tapped. Like the reason why I say that is because everybody's going to bid this 38K level, 28K level, but there's probably going to be a lot of liquidity down in like the 25K area. So it wouldn't surprise me to see something like this where we see price kind of grind up, maybe go to like 42K and then potentially break down for like one last shakeout, and then price will rebound. There are a lot of different scenarios right here for Bitcoin. I still believe that like something like 25K will be like the bottom personally. And what am I saying? Am I saying that Bitcoin is just done for a while? It's quite possible that it's done in terms of the next few months, but as far as it doing like a massive bear market from here on out for the next 2 years, I mean, I personally don't think so. It's undeniable that the 1 day market structure is absolutely broken. I mean, we've had like lower highs across the board, lower lows, of course. Like, this is the last low. Obviously, this is like far lower than that. Price is still trying to find its low now. What you're going to see if you want to see a trend change is if you go down to lower time frame charts, you'll start to see the trend changing overall, where you'll see higher highs and higher lows. And that's kind of what happened here on the like May 6th, May 7th area, but the overall trend on the daily was still bearish at that point because we hit a lower low on April 26th. So even though the 4-hour market structure, this was like bullish because you're seeing higher highs and higher lows. When you see this type of candle nuke through around 54K, that's going to break this other recent low here established at 53K on the 4-hour. So when you see this type of price action like this, you can assume that, you know, price is definitely going to be heading lower at that point. But I mean, again, it's so easy to see in hindsight. Like when it's actually happening, you're just shitting your pants. Like this is never, like when you see something like this, it's just like never very good. Like you hope as much as you can that price will just bounce, but if you're thinking clearly, then you'll see that these structures are broken on the lower time frames, and therefore it's going lower. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that the daily, look always on high time frame to low time frame, and the high time frame trend is more important. But you can start to see the trends changing on lower time frames for confirmation. And if you're thinking clearly and not emotional when the market is dumping, then you can kind of see what's actually going to happen. But, you know, again, it's very hard to separate emotion and a logical kind of mindset during these situations. For Bitcoin, I mean, I personally believe that we'll hit 42K or so. That's my opinion. 45K is actually kind of my like bigger target, and possibly even 50. I do think that it's likely that price will hit some sort of lower high. Like something like this would make sense to me, like where we see price grind up and then consider dumping after that point. I think that price will establish a base for the next few months. I think that we see a lot more chop. I think that we see a lot more consolidation. That's kind of my overall higher time frame outlook on BTC. I don't think that we are going to go to like 10K, but you never say never with Bitcoin. Something like this would make a lot of sense to me, though, like where we see a big range form between 65K and 30K. Now, in terms of overall dumps from the past, like, you know, this one was 50% or so in a bull market. And if you look back at kind of 2017's huge run, these situations did have negative 40% drawdowns or so, but never quite as big as 50. But I mean, given the amount of futures options available to participants today versus in 2017, like this isn't super surprising given the discrepancy between 2017 and today's market. Price, I mean, if you look back at 2017, I mean, if you take away all this other stuff, like this is assuming this is what you see. To me, this looks pretty bearish, right? Like it looks like it's just a market top. High sell volume coming in, like really ugly candle closes. Price looks like it's going lower. But again, if you look at what happened, oopsies. If you look at what happened, price just grinded up and rebounded up. And there are a few different ways that price can reverse. This type of price action that you saw in September of 2017 was like the slow grinding price action upwards. This is similar to what happened in March 12th, 2020, where price just grinded through. As you can see, after everybody got liquidated here for March 12th, this was obviously a nasty time. Price grinded up, and it never really revisited these lows back at 4,000. It just grinded up and just kept going higher. So maybe it's possible that price just does the same like this, where it just grinds up. Like this is entirely possible too, but I think it's more likely that price forms a range, something like this, where we see it go up, like hit 45, come back down, and then we just kind of like see like this choppy price action for the next few months. So those are kind of like my thoughts on Bitcoin overall. Like in the short term, I think that we might go to like, I do think we're going to hit 42, but whether or not we go lower first, like, 33 and then 42, something like this is possible. Again, like I don't have a great idea on Bitcoin. Like I really don't. Like this is just very confusing to me. I think that most of the sellers are gone because of the high sell volume in the short term. And I also want to reemphasize that bottoms take a really long time to form too. Like you'll see price just kind of ping pong around for quite some time. And this actually happens after big moves a lot. Like if you saw back in February, this was like a big move where it took like several days to resolve itself. And again, back in January, like it had this kind of bearish retest in the short term where price bottomed, bearish retest, and it had lower. This was kind of like these two situations. You can see that it takes bottoms for like a long time to form. Well, long relatively speaking. Like in 2018, that took months at the end of the bear market into 2019. This took several days. And it obviously it just depends on the context, but this I suspect will also take like some time before it goes higher. But I'm expecting a lot of chop in general. Like it wouldn't surprise me at all to see this go to like 33 or something and then go back up to 42. As I said, I'm expecting like the 40K to be eventually broken, and I do expect 45K or something like that to get tested. And that's where I'm going to be de-risking a lot of my bags myself, but that's just me. What do I see altcoins during this entire time? The overall market structure for ETH, BTC, ETH USD is pretty gross at this time. I looked at this weekly chart. Where was it? Sorry, I'm charting here. I'm trying to figure out where I had my levels. I think a little higher. Something like this. Seems okay to me. The ETH USD chart doesn't look great in the short term, but overall, like I think that there are inefficiencies to fill higher. Like meaning that I think that like 3K will eventually get tapped. Like pretty convinced that it will in the next few weeks. I again, similar to BTC, I expect there to be like a low formed and then this grind higher. But where do I think altcoins will go in the next few months? I mean, I think that altcoin charts in general are fairly ugly. I think that there are a lot of really gross altcoins in general, like altcoin charts. Like if you look up any altcoin chart, you'll see this massive nuke. This completely destroyed market structure, and I was just very wrong. Like I thought that this was an accumulation pattern from January to April, but like, and the price did go up. Don't get me wrong. Like for comp, for instance, it went like 5 to 9, which is great, but I expected more because of how long this consolidated for, and I didn't expect this to nuke like this. So I was completely off guard. For altcoin charts, there's several ways that altcoins reverse. The more common way that you see is kind of like this accumulation pattern. So like if we saw at the end of the fall of the decentralized finance bear market, or really all the entire altcoin market was a bear market in the fall of 2020. This is kind of like a little bit of a rounded bottom. Oopsies. Something like this. I mean, you could also argue this is like a kind of a V-shaped reversal too. Like price really started to do pretty well like after November. And then this had classic signs of a reversal too. Like you could see like pretty high sell volume come in at like, last bit of October, and then price reversed. But there's several different ways that altcoins can recover, and like this type of V-shaped reversal is one. Let's take a look at some of these other popular ones. The difference between this type of price action, though, from the fall of 2020 for all of altcoins and the current price action, is this was a slow grind down. This is what I expected, and this is why this is the type of bearish price action that I'm more used to in 2018 and 2019, where it's a slow grind down. I was very surprised to see the amount of liquidations for altcoins. Well, I guess I shouldn't say I was surprised, because I mean, realistically, like, the entire market's over leveraged at that point. But this type of price action is easier to get out than this, where price just like nukes very quickly and very hard. So the type of price action that we normally see for altcoins is just like kind of like a rounded bottom, slow grind up. It's rare that it's a total V-shaped reversal. Like, for instance, YFI had a V-shaped reversal, and this is like it's pretty rare for alt USD pairs to have this. Alt BTC pairs actually have this quite a bit. Like, you can see that this is like clear V-shaped reversal, very fast recovery, very quickly, very strong volume coming in. This is one reversal pattern that you might see. This is a V-shaped reversal, whereas coins like DOT had a accumulation reversal. Like, this is an accumulation at the end of the altcoin bear market in 2020. This just hit like a long range where it just ping-ponged across several months and accumulated. This is the type of price action that I'm maybe expecting for the next few months. Like, altcoins were overheated for sure. Something like this would make sense, where we see alts have like a short-term pretty good recovery and then pull back, maybe go back up, and then just ping pong for a while. I could see something like this happening. Overall, just expecting kind of a ranging consolidation price action versus like a V-shaped reversal. I think it's unlikely that a total V-shaped reversal happens myself, but that's just me. I mean, you never know, because there are inefficiencies to fill higher, but like overall, like, I think that it's more likely that price just ping pongs for a while and then it goes strongly in the winter. So my plan personally for altcoins, like, for example, I'm in Solana. I added some at the bottom yesterday, but I've already sold part of it. My plan for coins like Solana is to do something like this, where I see some of these higher levels marked, like 38 would be one, like low 40s would be another. And of course, this area around 35 will be an interesting point area as well. So I already bought some around 23 and 24, and even some at 22, but I'm still expecting this to eventually grind up, and then I'll start selling some around 35 to 39 if it gets there. Am I expecting altcoins to just like go down to zero and like, or way lower? I mean, you never say never with these things. Like, they pump very hard and they dump very hard. Something like for Solana, like $15 isn't out of the question eventually. There's a lot of support down there. If you look at volume profile, there's going to be a lot of support as well. So it makes sense that price will eventually want to probably go there, but it's going to take a big shakeout for BTC to happen. So like, Bitcoin grinds up to like 45K or something like that, then expect these higher levels to get tapped. But then if we see one big shakeout for Bitcoin down to like 28K, then this will certainly come as well, like $15. So right now, my plan is just to basically take some off the table when altcoins kind of grind up. Like, I feel like there's some sort of mean reversion that should happen, and price will kind of grind back up. And at that point, I'm going to de-risk a lot, and I'm totally happy just to buy back in higher. Like, if something like Solana, for instance, if this just goes like and makes like a total V-shaped reversal and then like starts like breaking all-time highs, then I'm happy to just get back in higher. That's like not a big deal to me. But as for now, I'm just playing my risk, like considering it, and I'll de-risk as altcoins go higher. So that's kind of my overall plan, guys. And as far as like macro thoughts, I honestly have no idea. Like, I'm sorry, it's very confusing environment for me. So good luck, stay safe, don't get chopped up.